Hi everyone, and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to start C# series, and we're going to learn how to write C# programs, and we're going to use .NET environment, and we're using Microsoft Visual Studio. So in order to start, just have to press File and then New Project, and then after that we're going to the other projects and choose Visual Studio Solution, blank solution, and then you can choose your location by browsing, but my location is okay, and I'm going to do tutorial. So the name of my solution is tutorial, and then I'm just gonna press OK. It says save changes. No, I don't need to save changes to that. So after that, we have our solution here, and we need to add our projects here. So you just right click on it, and then you go to the add and new project. And I'm going to use console.app.net framework, and I can change the name to anything that I want. So this is going to, my first one is going to be probably Hello World, or I'm just going to say Write Line. Okay. So this is our project. And as you can see, there are some lines that are already been written here. You don't need to touch any of them, and your program is going here inside of these curly brackets. So before that, if you want to comment, comments are something that you can see it in your code, but when you're executing it, it doesn't have any effect on your execution. So it doesn't appear in your program. It doesn't appear in your final product of the program, but you can just remind yourself for certain things that you need to change, or generally they are useful. So the way to put comment is just to do a dash, and then after that 2 stars in between. So whatever you write in here is going to be a comment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write what I'm going to do in this program. So the first one is write a program to print Hello World. So this is the easiest thing that you can do when you're programming, and in C# language, if you want to do that, you first have to start with console.writeLine, and then open and close a curly bracket, and that's it. So you say console.writeLine, and then after that, whatever you want to be appeared on the screen, you just put it inside of 2 quotation marks. So here I want to say Hello World, so I'm just going to write the Hello World in between the quotation marks, and I save this, and when I run it, and for running it, you press Ctrl F5. Will probably take a few seconds. Yes, Hello World, press any key to continue. So this is our first program. Now let's do the second program. So the second program, I'm going to do write a program to prompt the user to say their name and then you will say hi to them. Okay, so we're adding another project to our solution. Again, console app, and I'm gonna say prompt user and press OK. Okay, so this is our new project. When I go and click on it, you see that it doesn't get bold. So that means we are still on this project. If I want to execute anything, it's going to execute write line. It's not going to execute the new one. So what I have to do is to change some settings here. So I have to right click on the solution and then go to properties. And change to current selection. So then when you say OK, it's going to, whenever I'm going on prompt user, it's going to run this program for me. If I go to write line, it's going to run this program for me. So I'm going on prompt user and I will start writing a program. So let's put the comment here so we know what we are going to do in this one. In this one, write a program to prompt the user for their name and say hi with user's name. Okay, so the first thing, we have to write a line that asks the user to put their name. So we are going with console dot write line, and then open and close the parentheses, and inside of that, inside of the quotation, say please enter your name. And then you can put a space here so it will look better. And after that, so the user will enter something, but we have to store that answer. So it is very important that we store it in a variable. And since it's we are entering a name, that means we are using a string, because we are going to use words, not letters. If it was letters, we could use character, but since we're going to use words, and because a name is a word, so we're going to use a string. So what we have to do is to write first a string. We're going to say what type it is, and then we write the name of our string, which is going to be name, and you put this equal to. So what is where can we find the name? And we're going to say, okay, read the line that the user enters. So read line, open and close a curly bracket, sorry, I forgot to put console dot read line, and that's it. So now whatever our user enters for their name is going to be saved in our string called name, because we said read line, whatever it is written, whatever the user is written. And then after this, these two lines that will let us to ask the user to enter their name and then get their name, we have to print it on the screen because it says say hi with the username. So again, we have to use another console.write line because we're going to write another line in our program, and this time we are going to say hi, and then it's going to be the name of the person who is going to enter their name on the next line, on the line before this. So how can we change this name to the same thing that the person enters? Since we are having a variable here called name, it means that anything that our user enter will be stored in the name. So what happens is I can put a $sign here and then put this name into curly brackets. So what this does is it will replace the name with the value of the name. So that in this case, the value of the name is the name of the user. So then it's going to say hi, and if the name of the user is, for example, Sean, it will say hi Sean. Or if the name of the user is Mary, it will say hi Mary. And I'm going to save this program and I'm going to run it to see if it works. So for running it, you press Control F5 and it appears on the screen. So ignore the first one. Look at this. Didn't do anything. So I'm gonna run it again. Okay, so please enter your name. I'm going to enter my name and it says hi Helia. Now let's enter another name. Again, Control F5, and if I say my name is, for example, Jane, it's going to say hi Jane. Okay, so this is our second program, and let's do another program, and it's going to be our third program. This one is going to be with numbers. We're going to add two numbers together, so I'm just gonna say addition. Hopefully I didn't write it wrong. Okay, so let's again put a comment to see what does the second question tell us to do. Okay, so the second question is write a program that takes two numbers and add them and show the result. Okay, so here we again need to prompt the user to enter a number and then get that number and store it in a variable. So the same thing, I'm just gonna say console.writeLine. And I'm going to prompt the user to enter a number. So I'm going to say enter an integer. I'm just going to say integer so we can use integers. And then okay, now I have to choose a variable to store that integer in it. So this time our variable type is going to be an integer. So I'm going to say int and then the name of it, which is going to be number 1, or I can say num1, so it's going to be faster, equal to. Okay, so here's the tricky part. You can only do this with the strings. Whenever something is written in your program, whenever you prompt the user, by default it will take it as a string. If you don't want it to be string, you need to convert it to the other variable that you want. So here I want to take the user's answer as an integer. I don't want it to be in string, so I have to convert it. So I will say convert and then dot to integer. So I'm gonna go with int 32 to int 32, and after that you have to put it inside of parentheses because you want to say what are you going to convert to int 32, and you say whatever it is written. Sorry, I keep forgetting this. Console.readline. You say whatever the user is writing in our program, we want to change it to the integer. So that's why this one goes inside of another parenthesis. So whenever you're not using a string, you need to convert it to. You can convert to integer if it's a number with if it is not a whole number. If it is not an integer, you can use double or float, and if you're using just the letter, you can use character, and if you're using a word or more than a word like a sentence, you can use string. Okay, so then after that we said we want two numbers because we are going to add two numbers. So I'm going to copy paste this because the second question is going to be exactly the same as the first question. So Control C and here Control V. So enter, I'm going to say another integer, and for the second one we can't, as you can see, it says there's a problem with it, and it says number 1 is already defined, so we have to change it to another one. I'm going to change it to num2. So now the first part, we're going to get the first integer, and the second part, we're going to get the second integer from the user. But we're not going to just print that on the screen. We need to add them together. So here, I have to introduce another variable which will hold the value of number 1 and number 2 added together. So I'm going to say total, and first you have to say what type of integer, what type of variable you're introducing. So I'm going to say this is integer because we have two integers adding together, so it's going to be still an integer. So int total is equal to, and you have to enter what you want to add to what, to num2, and then if I add these two together. Okay, so now let's explain this line. So I said I want an integer called total, and then after that it says, okay, so what do you want to store in total? I said I want to add number 1 and number 2, and then I want to save it in total. Okay, so now the computer already added these two numbers together, but it's not going to show it on the screen because we haven't asked for it to show it on the screen. So what we can do, we can say console.writeLine again, and then here, as you remember, we have to put a $sign, and then inside of the quotations I'm gonna put curly brackets, and I'm gonna write total. So it means whatever it is in total, just print it on the screen. So that's it, and then I save it and I run it. Okay, ignore the first one. Okay, there's some problem with this. I'm just gonna reopen it. Control F5. Okay, so enter an integer. I'm gonna enter 3, and then enter another integer. I'm gonna enter 5. As you can see, our result is 8. Okay, so now I have an integer, but what if I enter a number which is not integer? Let's see how is it going to treat that number. For example, I'm going to say 3.3, and it's gonna give me was not in the correct format, so it's going to give me a error. To be honest, I didn't expect this. I thought it's going to just ignore 0.3 and it's going to add two numbers together, but yeah, it gave me an error and it doesn't let me to go forward. So what I can do here, if I want to change it to a double, I'm going to say enter a number, so it won't matter what type of number it is. Enter another number, and then instead of int here, now we have to do double. Convert to this one is double 2, and then convert to double. Okay, I can save this and run it. Okay, I'm sure there is something wrong with the way that I write double. Okay. Okay, let's try it this way. Okay, so then it's going to be this double. Convert dot to double. Well, that's weird. I don't know why. Oh no, it is my number because I'm getting. Okay, I see what's happening here. Okay, so it's always a good idea to check what was the problem before just assuming there is the problem. Maybe it is a different one. So I have number 1 and number 2 adding together, and these two numbers are double, but I'm putting it in a variable which is an integer. That's why it is giving me some trouble. So I'm just going to change this to double because it says you can't put an integer in double. So Control F5, and so ignore the first one. Okay, I'm gonna say 4 and 4.5, and it gives me the final result as 8.5. So as you can see, it is true it is a double, but it can still take an integer in it. And also it can take other type of numbers as well. It doesn't need to be only integers. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you in next video. Bye.